No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
And good morning. This is Mike Lodge. I am the business advisor, and I'm glad that you have joined me. Glad that you're sitting back wherever you are listening to this podcast. All my 20 listeners. Every single day, social media is one of those things that you always have to maintain or look at because it changes every single day. And so you're always trying to find out exactly how many people are listening to you, how many people are reading your blogs, how many people are joining you on Instagram and Facebook, and on the podcast you're looking at iHeartRadio and all the other TuneIn and all the other stations that I'm on, and I think it's about 25 stations I'm on. But I look at the amount of people that listen to me every day. My stats is what is the report that I get. Stats. It tells me how many people are downloading, how many people are listening, how many people are in different countries, what podcast stations that are playing me the most, or people are listening to me the most. And my numbers never change. It's like no one is listening to me at all. So every morning I get up, 5 o'clock, go take my dog for a walk. Then I sit down and I begin reading the content that I need to talk about. And then I talk about what I find interesting, what's happening in the world. My numbers never change. If I look at my Instagram account, it stays exactly the same amount of followers. If I look at my Facebook account, it remains at the same amount as followers. No matter what I do, it stays there. So I'm going to say that I've got 20 listeners, and thank you each and every single one of you. And quite frankly, every single day, I work on this and try to get my podcast out there. And I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to keep on going. It's an inexpensive operation. It's just me. I produce it. I man the boards. I do all the promotion. I do all of the other stuff that needs to be done on a podcast, and then I get it out there. Why do I do it? Because I want to educate people, and I want to make sure that they understand that there's a whole new world out there besides the one that you see every day on the news. What you see from the elites in Washington, D.C. And all this nonsense that you and I see. I pulled up my Twitter account this morning, and I was just thumbing through it to see exactly what people were saying. On my Twitter account, I listened to the right and the left and the middle. I would listen to everybody to see exactly what they're saying. And they're really not saying anything. What they're doing is they are just spinning something. And they're spinning whatever the narrative is for that day. And then it changes the next day depending on what happened with the almighty people up at the top. But I want you to understand one thing. There are other voices out there that are trying to tell you, hey, buckle up, get your budgets in order, work on your finances, do the best that you can to protect your families as much as you possibly can. Because we have an elite organization in Washington, D.C. that controls everything that's out there. The narrative, the news, everything. That's what they do. And if you come in and if you talk against what you've heard, then you become the enemy. And I've been the enemy several days. For several years, I should say. Because I question everything. I challenge what people are saying. One of the things that has been bothering me is that I don't know if you know who Marjorie Greene is. She's a congresswoman. Every single day she comes on and she says, I'm impeaching, I've introduced articles of impeachment against so-and-so. And then you see her out there saying all this nonsense and that they've got witnesses and they've got the proof and everything. I tell you what, when we were going through this thing with Trump and the Democrats as they were holding their hearings, we heard the exact same thing. I've got proof. We've got a whistleblower. It went on and on. And now that the Republicans are in charge, we're hearing the same thing every single day. They do nothing. Like, they have the ability, if they say that they have all of this evidence and all of these tapes and everything else of Biden taking money as a bribe, then why are they not impeaching? And they just sit there and they do nothing. But they moan and groan, and the reason why there is an answer to this is that we're in the election time for 2024. So they are each side, Republicans and Democrats are both trying to make each other look bad. Is there truth in anything that they're saying? Probably not. And we keep hearing it day after day after day. And yet nothing gets done. Now, we as Americans, we have to keep going on with our lives, right? You've got to find out what is cheap so that you can put you can put food on your table. You're looking at where the lowest gas prices are. You're looking at clothing for your children to go to school in. You are trying to scrimp and save as much as you possibly can in order to survive. You're making sure that your rents are paid and your housing payments are made. You're making sure that your car payments are made. You're making sure that you can pay for the utilities in your house and food and transportation. So you're covering all of the basis of how to survive. And you've been doing it now for quite some time. So we are living in a totally different world that Wall Street is living in and what politicians are living in. So every single day they're trying to get you upset and get you mad and get you to fight back. And I do the same thing to you. I just posted something on my Twitter this morning that said, listen, the elite are the ones that control Washington, D.C. Not only do they control Washington, D.C., but they all know each other. Democrats and Republicans, they all know each other. They all send their kids to the same school. They all go to the same dinner spots. In fact, they have dinners together. They go to the same clubs and hang out and play golf. The elite know everybody. Even though they say bad words about each other, they're still working together. They're still playing together. They're still visiting with each other. So we have this elite that's in Washington, D.C. who controls what's going on in Washington, D.C. But you and I, we're trying to control and prepare and to take care of and to protect the families that are in our care. We work at it every single day. When you go to the store, you're looking at the value of what you can put on the table for less money because inflation has become so high, especially in food. And so you're looking at ways, where can I go on vacation that's close that we can still enjoy? We can't go to Disneyland because it's too expensive. We can't go to Washington, D.C. because it's too dangerous. We can't go to New York because it's too dangerous. We can't go to Europe at the moment because airline costs are so high. So we're looking at places around our places where we live, in the states that we live. I saw one that had mapped out, this is my European vacation in South Carolina. And he mapped out where he was going in South Carolina. So people are thinking beyond the boxes that we're in, that our economics just is not strong enough to really splurge, to go on that really nice vacation to Italy. So we're going to a waterfall here in South Carolina. We're renting cabins instead of hotel rooms. We're looking at value where our families can enjoy life. So I look at this every single day, and as I'm doing my podcast, I'm wondering, what am I going to speak to them about today? I need to talk to them about business, but I tell you right now, there's not that much happening in business. We have a Congress that is kind of stuck at the moment. I monitor them every single day to see what they're slipping in there on in the verbiage of taxation or usage tax or whatever that they try to sneak in. I've told you this before, that in the transportation bill several years ago, a whole tax law was snuck in that bill that affected if you had a foreign bank account of $10,000 or more, or if you were a signer on a foreign bank account. Let's say you had a family member or a mom and dad that's in Italy, let's say, and you had more than $10,000 in there, and you were a signer on that account. You had to report that to the Internal Revenue Service, and you had to report that to the Treasury Department, 2 different places. And if you didn't, then it would become a criminal offense, and they could come after you. And that was stuck in on a transportation bill. So every one of these bills, I pull up at least once a week, and I look at the bills and go through the bills very quickly. I've gotten really good at this, going through these bills and seeing exactly what's hidden in there. And then I try to contact the Congress or members of the Senate and say, hey, listen, this is not there. That should not be there. What are you guys doing? And then I also listen to the Tax Foundation, who updates me almost on a daily basis of what's going on state and local taxes, on property taxes, on sales and use taxes, on federal taxes, on state taxes, on all the taxes out there, that there is a change being proposed or that is being changed through an act of Congress. So I look at this every single day. And I study what's going on out there in the market. One thing I didn't like to see this morning as I was looking is that commercial property, like shopping malls, they're going into default. There was a big shopping mall. I've been to it several different times in San Francisco. Beautiful mall in downtown San Francisco. Went into default. They could not afford to do it any longer. They couldn't afford to pay the payments on it. One, interest rates have gone up so high that it has hurt them tremendously. And we are seeing this more and more in Los Angeles, in New York, San Francisco. We're seeing more and more defaults on commercial buildings. And it's a bad thing to say, because what happens then? When a commercial loan goes into default, what happens? It affects the banking industry. So the banks are not out of all of this nonsense. They're not safe yet. We still have more to go through in the banking side. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you that, listen, we're being held up by the elites in Washington, D.C., but you and I, let's push forward. Let's continue to survive. Let's continue to provide for our families. Let's continue to try and build businesses, start new businesses. Forget about all this politics out there, because it doesn't do any good for you and me. Listen, if you have any business questions, send it to me at thebusinessadvisor@gmail.com. And if you would like to sit down with me for 60 minutes and confidentially talk about issues, business issues, go to www.lodge.co.com. You can book me online right there. Everybody go out and have a great day. I'll let you know as soon as my book gets published to Amazon, and we'll go from there. It's called Kids in Money. It's a good book. Talk with you soon. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.